Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's session. I'm Hiren Shah from Deloitte, and today we'll delve into an important amendment which has been introduced by the Finance Act 2024 in relation to Section 1023 FE of the Income Tax Act 1961. We shall first look into a little history which made way for this session, and then the final details of the possible areas which may emerge and that taxpayers may need to consider. As you are aware, infrastructure plays a vital role in countries' development. And in this context, government has taken various initiatives to foster the development of a country's infrastructure, be it the roads, railways, power, etc. From a tax standpoint, various incentives have been provided to the infrastructure sector by way of profit-linked incentives in the past under Section 80 AA. Fast forward to today, investment links incentives are available in the infrastructure sector with respect to roads, railways, and other infrastructure sectors. Today, considering the role infrastructure sector plays, and in order to incentivize investment by sovereign wealth funds and pension funds, Section 1023 FE came into the being. Finance Act 2020 introduced Section 1023 FE and provided certain incentives to wholly owned subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, sovereign wealth funds, and pension funds. The incentive which is available is with respect to income from dividend, interest, long-term capital gains, etc., which are received with respect to investments made by these funds in enterprises and Indian companies which are engaged in the infrastructure sector, and they qualify as an eligible investment. There are certain conditions which were attached, such as the investment was required to be made during the period 1 April 2020 to 31st March 2024. While this investment could be by way of equity or debt, it was required to be held at least for a period of 3 years. Further, the entity or the investor desirous of being qualified investor would need to make an application to the government to notify it as an eligible investor. Lastly, they could also make investment in Category 1 and Category 2 alternate investment funds, provided these funds had 100% of its investments in eligible infrastructure company. While this incentive introduction was welcomed by the industry, there were certain practical nuances which required alignment. Taking that into consideration, Finance Act 2021 introduced various relaxations, such as the relaxation with respect to investment made by the eligible investor, that is the sovereign wealth funds and pension funds, and the wholly owned subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, into Category 1 and Category 2 alternate investment funds. Now, these Category 1 and Category 2 alternate investment funds could have non-eligible investments up to 50%. That is, at least 50% of the investments now could be in eligible infrastructure sector and balance could be in the non-eligible sector. The exemption would now be available only proportionately. It also provided flexibility with respect to Category 1 and Category 2 alternate investment funds, which have made investments in infrastructure investment trusts. Also, the sovereign wealth funds and pension funds could now invest in India through a holding company, wherein 75% of the investments were required to be in one or more infrastructure companies and would be satisfying the conditions. Another relaxation which was provided was with respect to investments by these sovereign wealth funds and pension funds in non-banking finance companies, infrastructure debt funds, and infrastructure finance company, all these being subject to certain conditions. Parallelly, to work out the amount of exemption, Rule 2DCA was introduced in the Income Tax Rules 1962. So this is the broad history which we've discussed. And guess what? There were results which were reflected by way of numbers. The investments by these sovereign wealth funds and pension funds grew from US dollars 3.97 approximately to US dollars 6.712. The numbers are in billions. So this was the impact based on which investments were encouraged by the sovereign wealth funds and pension funds. This demonstrates significant investments and growth in the infrastructure sector. In order to further incentivize, an extension was provided by the Finance Act 2024, and an extension was provided to the period during which the investments could be made by the sovereign wealth funds and the pension funds. Now, the investments up to 31st March 2025 qualified for investment for exemption under Section 1023 FE of the Income Tax Act. Interestingly, now here comes the finer nuance. Specified person as defined under explanation 1 indicates that the eligible sovereign wealth fund and pension funds needs to be notified by the official gazette and by the central government in the official gazette. And certain conditions mentioned in the notification need to be fulfilled. Today, there are around 35 sovereign wealth funds and pension funds which have been notified, and they are treated as specified persons which are eligible for investment from the date of publication in the official gazette up to 31st March 2024. So in the individual notifications which have been issued, which mention that these are the eligible sovereign wealth funds who are eligible for investment under Section 1023 FE, they mention the period from the date of the notification up to 31st March 2024. Now that's where the difference is. While the section has been amended to extend the period of investment up to 31st March 2025, whereas the notifications which have been issued mention the end period, that is 31st March 2024. Now, if we look, what is the impact of this? Investments up to 31st March 2024 made from the date of the publication of the eligible investor in the notification gazette, those investments will qualify for investment for exemption under Section 1023 of the Income Tax Act 1961. However, investments made post 1 April 2024 may not be eligible for exemption under Section 1023 FE of the Income Tax Act. Hence, it is important that the government clarifies or issues a notification to the effect that the existing eligible investors would now be eligible for exemption under Section 1023 FE of the Income Tax Act if the investments are made also during the period 1 April 2024 up to 31st of March 2025. This will go a long way to provide confidence to the investors and remove the anomaly. With this, we would like to end this session and would look forward to connecting with you in another session shortly. Thank you.